Again, everyone, thanks for joining us on Facebook. I can't see who's there, but thanks for being with us. And for those of you who are listening to this on the recording, thanks for listening, and get back to the person that got you the recording and thank them, and think about giving this a try. Give this a go. See what it does for you. It's a pretty remarkable product, isn't it, Katie?
Dr. Kurt, you know it's my favorite product.
It better be, right?
Okay, I'm just looking down for the moment because I'm just going to share this live feed onto another group, onto our group. And so I'll just do that for 2 ticks,
Okay.
and then I'll be right with you.
I won't bother you while you're doing that. Here's what we're talking about today. Can you see that? Oh, it's not showing up on the screen there. I'll hold it in front of me. That's the only way it shows up. The age pill. See how it disappears? It's a ghostly bottle. All right. We're waiting for Roz to show up. And in the meantime, thanks everyone for being here. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend so far. You know, I got a lot done today. I actually got a lot done this week. It's been a very productive week for me. My dogs have been waking me up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And we've been going to bed early. As soon as I watch the weather for the next day, I go to bed. So.
Okay, I'm back now.
All right. Well, it's the top of the hour, Katie, and I don't see Roz with us. So let's get started anyhow.
Sure.
So thanks for being with us, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. My name is Dr. Kurt Fisnick, for those of you that don't know me, and this is my friend and business partner, Katie Larkin, from down in Australia. I'm way up here in North Dakota. She's way down in Melbourne, Australia.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's a wonderful day. Did you know that today is Tom's birthday, Tom Maurer Sr.'s birthday?
Oh, wow. Well, he'd definitely be watching over, and he'd be very pleased that we're doing this call, I'm sure.
Yeah. You know, Tom was, I tell people, and I mean it, he was probably the most intelligent person I ever met. And not just intelligent, but he had a great personality as well.
Yeah.
You know, as a lot of people say, he was a, not only did he have the smarts, but he had the showmanship to go with it.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, yeah. So that was good. But, you know, so I know you can't really see this because I'm the way my screen is, I have to hold it in front of me for you to see it. But this bottle right here,
I can see it
called, I have to hold it in front of me for it to work. Good. Called the age film. It was introduced 5 years ago by Tom Maurer. And, you know, I shared last week that I was kind of experimenting around with a few different nutritional products, nicotinamide riboside and alpha lipoic acid. And Roz, you're on the panel. So if you want to hit your video and your microphone, you can join the panel. But, you know, I started taking a couple different products, and I started seeing some changes. And in April of that year, right after my birthday, so I just turned 55. Tom and I were talking on the phone, and we happened to read a lot of the same medical journals. And he said, guess what kind of product I'm coming out with? And I said, I bet it's a product with nicotinamide riboside. And there was just this dead silence over the phone line. And he said, how'd you know that? And I said, well, I'm already taking one. I'm putting together my own. I formulated my own by buying a little of this, a little bit of that. And he said, how much are you taking? And I told him, and he said, oh, no. He said, that's not going to do anything. He said, that's not even a maintenance dosage.
How much was it? Were you telling him at that stage?
Well, at that time I was taking 300 milligrams of nicotinamide riboside.
Yeah, not enough.
And he said, no, you need to be taking at least triple that dose.
Yes, close to 1,000.
Yeah, triple. So, I mean, he wanted me to take 900. And so I took a little bit more, but it was expensive to put it together. I mean, it was fairly expensive. And so I really didn't do it. But then when the age pill came out in July, it actually came out 5 years ago, in July, 5 years ago. And I don't remember exactly. I think it was the 27th of July, if I remember right. I'm just kind of putting it together in my head. But anyhow, I remember when I started taking the product, I mean, I just started seeing changes like right away. And part of it was, that I had changes right away is because I'd already primed my system for 4 months, taking my, homemade formulation. And what a great product. So Roz, you've joined us now, and Roz, I know you have to run to another meeting, so I'm gonna let you jump on first if you want to unmute yourself. And everyone, this is our friend and also business partner Rosalind Saunders. She's down in Britain, in the Gold Coast, right? Or are you in Brisbane?
Brisbane.
Okay, and so she's got a great story, a great testimonial to share. She's been taking the age pill. And Roz, have you been doing the double dose?
Absolutely, Kurt. Right from the start. So I've written a few notes here so I don't take up too much of Mike's time. Right from the start, I double dosed as instructed. I, like you, have sometimes dropped back to 6, but I just don't seem to feel that edge. So I actually stay on the double dose. It's a small price to pay for what you get out of this product, my opinion. The main things I noticed right from the start, I wouldn't even join the company. I just said, get me this product, not joining any company. I have been in Tom's other company since 1991. So I knew the brain of who was formulating it. So that's what drew it to me. Right from the first time I took it, which was the September 2017, I noticed a boost in mood, emotions. I work in the field of emotions and addictions. So once I did that, I joined up to the company, and I won't go without it. Number one, I won't go without the double dose. And also, I've got it here. I'm very passionate about what it can do for people with depression and addiction. We've got another team member who we both know who lives near me. She's in the medical field, and she states everybody needs this product. I agree. We've got so much going on. We're a very addictive society, depression, mental health. So for those reasons, I'd also like to mention, I mentioned it to my friend who's a nun who you've spoken to. We call her the Flying Nun. She was right onto it. And so she's now 92, still taking it. She rings me up, Roz, I need more of those AIDS pills, because she's giving it out to the congregation. And if that ain't doing God's work, what is? So I have another friend, Joan, who got on it. We've been friends for years. When I did, I just said, I'm loving this product. I don't care if no one else in the world takes it, but I feel good on it. And Joan at that stage was about 79 or 78, and she was just starting to talk about being old and, all that stuff. She was feeling like she was kind of on the way out. Wow, the boost it's given to her in her vitality, her aliveness, her fun, her mood. And so she takes 10 a day. She won't go off that. What else have I got? Depression, addiction, mood, let alone the idea of it deglugging me appeals to me. Get all that slush out of us. And I guess for me, it's about taking responsibility. I want to keep my brain active. We want to be, live as long as we need on this planet, but actually be living and alive in doing so. And for me, it's being purposeful. So I can't speak highly enough about this product. I've actually built quite a business, all because I tried it that day and loved it. There's no other reason. I didn't come in here building a business. I said, actually, I'm not building a business. So absolutely delighted. Obviously, I've changed over from the former company and use all my products from Sizzle now. I'm also a hairdresser, so that's the reason I got into Tom's former company, because hairdressers have the highest rates of cancer, which I didn't know. And I didn't know anything about what was in shampoo, and even though I'd had many businesses. So couldn't be more grateful and delighted. And I'd just like to say before Mike comes on that his testimonial, it's the one that warms my heart. I have sent it out to hundreds of people, and I just love it. So thank you, Mike, and I'm looking forward to hearing your update today. So thanks, Kurt.
You bet. Well, Roz, I remember when I was talking to you, and you said, I am absolutely not going to build a business. I've done network marketing before. It's never worked for me, you know, and I remember you telling me how it cost you money to be in network marketing because you were taught all wrong. And I was just discussing that with another leader friend of mine the other day, and he's from another company. He said, you know, it's funny how many leaders actually talk people into doing it the wrong way so that they can make money, and you don't, and then you eventually, you know, don't build a business, and so that happens to a lot of people, Roz.
Yes, and I'd like to just correct you on, it did work for me, Kurt. I got car qualified, I got Diamond Ambassador, I came to Malvern Mountain. So it had many, and the personal development, many benefits. So it did actually work. It didn't probably work the way I thought it would. But it was just a lifesaver for me. I'd gone through a divorce, so it was just a lifesaver at that time. And had it not been for this company, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today, or wouldn't have met Katie. And I love to have fun.
There you go. Well, good deal. You know, everything happens for a reason. Thanks for sharing that. And I, you know, and I know you gotta jump off. So whenever you're ready to go, you can. Thank you for being here.
I'm jumping off in 20 minutes.
Okay,
So.
you still got some time. Okay, perfect. Well, you know, so the other day we were talking about Mike from over in he lives over in the Detroit area, and Mike had joined up with Sizzle back 5 years ago, and I forgot to ask him about this. But Katie, do you remember when he first got started? When he talked, you couldn't hardly understand him.
He couldn't talk, and he said he couldn't walk up the stairs. He could hardly move. He was in a real bad way.
Yep. And I forgot to ask him about that the other day when I interviewed him again. But I remember, yeah, you couldn't understand what he was saying. He was telling me, and well, I'll share his video. So hang on one second. Let me share this. It's not actually, it's a video. It's just a
He couldn't jump on today. So you spoke to him the other day, didn't you, about this?
I did. So here's his testimony.
Could I just also butt in here? Mike was suicidal. I want people to know that as well, in his own words.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah.
He was suicidal. So I just, if I may butt in and add that, because that's what impressive.
I think he actually says that on the interview that I did with him yesterday. Yeah.
Oh,
hang on one second. I'm going to play this, and so here we go. Hey, Mike, are you there?
I'm still here.
All right. Well, Mike, thanks for joining me today. You know, I'm recording this conversation, and my friend Mike from up in Michigan. How many years ago was that we met, Mike? About 5 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, probably about 5 years ago.
5, maybe 6 years ago. Yeah, and it was right about the time that the AIDS pill came out.
Right, and I started. That's when I started it, basically.
You started it right after it came out, yeah, because that's when Dr. Kim got involved with Sizzle.
Right.
And you were one of his patients, one of his first patients that he got taken the product.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to believe that it was 5 years ago that product was developed, July 5 years ago. And I feel like I've been on it forever.
Same here. And I'm afraid not to use it, you know. Yep.
It's that good of a product. But so I don't want to take up a lot of your time. I know you're a busy guy as well. Tell me, when you first started taking it, and we'll go back 5 years ago. I remember, and I could tell your story because I've memorized it because it's such a good story. But when you first started taking it, in that first, 90 days or 6 months, what were the changes that you noticed then?
Oh, geez, that was quite a while ago, but I know I responded to it rather quickly. I do remember that, and I'm going to say probably a lot of things, fatigue, which it was an issue because of the MS. That seemed to go away quickly. And also depression seemed to go rather quickly. And I was able to, which I had a hard time with communicating and talking. I was I remember that being a big issue. That improved dramatically almost right away.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember. I know that I had pretty bad headaches, and they went away almost instantly.
Yeah. Well, you know what I remember, and correct me how long this was, but I remember when I first met you, they were talking about pulling your driver's license from you so you couldn't drive, and you were having difficulty even walking with a cane back then. And then when I came back to Detroit to visit Dr. Kim, I don't know if it was 6 months later, 3 months later, whatever it happened to be, and you walked into the meeting, and I didn't even recognize you. You had changed your whole look, and on top of it, you weren't using that cane anymore.
No, I was able to get around much better. And I don't know. Well, like today, as Dr. Kim retired, so I had to find another chiropractor, and I went there today, and him and his receptionist both, and I'm 62 years old, and they're probably my age. They both commented on how youthful I look and how good my skin tone is and everything. And I do have a little bit of a beard, and they said maybe you should shave it off and show us, your whole skin, all your skin.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm willing to do that, but they were both. I found that to be a pretty good compliment from them, and I did tell them that I don't know what else to associate it to, but the age pill.
Yeah. It is just a remarkable product, isn't it?
It is. And I've seen so many issues go away, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah. So, now that you've been on it for 5 years, what, like you just said, your skin. People are noticing that your skin looks younger. And like I said, when you first went on it, I remember, the walking and being without the cane and your vision got better. You're able to read again. What has that continued to improve to this point? I know you probably have good days and bad days just like I do, but
my vision has improved a lot. Unfortunately, my walking is not doing as good as I'd like it to.
Okay.
I use a walker a lot, but you got to remember I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 1992, and that's 30 years, and I defy you to find many people who have had MS for 30 years that are still walking.
30 years you've had it. Wow.
Right.
And hang on one second. I got somebody knocking at the door. I'm going to let them in. And, but 30 years, that's a long time to have it, and not just have it, but just not get any worse. Hang on one second.
Exactly.
Hey, Paul, come on in just for a little bit. We're going to wait out here. I just finished up a conference call. I'll come back later. Okay, I'll be on for about 5 more minutes. Okay, see you in a few minutes. All right. That's something, and you continue to walk. Are you still driving?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I drive.
Yeah, because that was the one thing I remember you were pretty disappointed about back then. They were going to take your driver's license away, and here it is 5 years later. You still have it.
Well, my significant other left me and kind of took the car away and everything. I had to get my own car, and it was a big change. But thank God the age pill got me through it more than anything. I believe. I do believe that.
Yeah.
I want to real quick say one other thing. About, I would say 3 years ago, it was probably just when COVID started. And I was going to a support group, MS support group. And there was a guy there in his 40s, big guy who was walking but with a walker, very pro-medication. The whole support group was very pro-med. When I told him what I was doing, this guy, his name happened to be Mike too also, he laughed at me. And he said, "Oh yeah, we'll see how that works for you." I said, "Okay, we will." I seen him probably might have been 2 weeks ago. He can't walk. He is in a motorized wheelchair full time. So I didn't say anything to him, but yeah. And I'm still walking. So I don't know what to say, you know.
Yeah, something's going on, right? That's all we can really say is, you know, we can't make any claims or anything like that. I can't say, oh my God, Mike, you know, it's you know, keeping you. I can't say that. All we can say is something's different.
Right. Yeah. It's done something, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And what it's done has been a positive thing.
You bet. Are you taking the double dose like Tom Senior had recommended us to, or are you taking the single dose?
I did the double dose probably for the first, I'm going to say maybe a year, and then I went to the single dose, and it's been fine.
Okay. It'd be interesting to see what would happen if you did the double dose for a couple of weeks. Text me your address, and I'll send you an extra bottle of HPA, because I just want to see what it does if you do a double dose for 2 weeks. Now,
yeah, I'd be willing to try it.
Yeah, because one of the things that I'm hearing from people is that, you know, about every year, you know, year and a half, we should probably clean the system out by doing a double dose for a 2-week period of time, just kind of like, you know, like taking an orange pickup of yours and flushing the radiator every so often.
Yeah, and it needs that.
There you go. You know, they do, right?
Absolutely.
And so if our car needs it, then why not our body, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for giving us your testimonial, Mike. Hang on 1 second. I'm gonna stop the recording, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Mike has a great story there, doesn't he?
Oh, that is just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, hear what it actually has done for him and how it's really been life-changing. And that's why, I guess, you're here today. That's why I'm here today. That's why Roz is here today. And the people who are really committed and invested in their health and love these products are here as well, because they know that they just get such great results for so many people. Like what you said, we can't make claims, but, you know, isn't it amazing how much of a difference that it has made for Mike? And it's just incredible. So I'm super excited that you offered him an extra bottle of H pill to try and see how he goes, because I reckon it'll give him an extra buzz back and make him feel even better than he's feeling. Would be just incredible to get him to try that and then interview him again, Dr. Kurt.
Well, that's exactly it. So after I stopped the recording, I got his address. I actually got it in the mail to him as soon as we got off the recording. I went to the post office and dropped it off for him. And he agreed that then he'll do another testimonial after those 2 weeks. And I'm expecting to have some changes just like he did in the beginning. And you know, that's the kind of thing that we got to get people to try. If it's not continuing to make changes, maybe need to up the dose a little bit.
Exactly.
And I know, like myself, in the beginning, I was taking the double dose, and then I went down to the single dose, and I wasn't getting the same feeling. I wasn't feeling the same, and so I went back up to the double dose, and I did that 12 a day. Oh, I want to say I did it for the first 2 years.
Yeah.
And and then I dropped back down to the single dose, and I didn't feel a regression of my symptoms. I didn't feel like, where before, when after the first 3 months, when I went off the double dose, I noticed that my vision started to get a little worse again. So that's why I went back on the double dose. And then after 2 years of being on the double dose and then backing off, then I didn't notice that those symptoms came back. So, it's kind of a trial and error thing. That's why we can't prescribe nutritional products, because it works differently on different people. Some people, I have people who can only take a couple a day, because they just, the changes are just so overwhelming, they can't handle it.
Wow. And you've also got someone who's been taking even a higher dose than the 12 too, haven't you?
Yeah, we got some people who are taking 18 a day.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So, one of the things that I want to cover, I want to just, before we get off the call, Roz mentioned depression and suicidal and things like that. One of the ingredients is something called 5-hydroxytryptophan. 5-hydroxytryptophan, if you look it up, it's a precursor. It's one of the building blocks. When you hear the word precursor, think of building blocks. It's one of the building blocks that your body needs to make serotonin. Serotonin is a very powerful neurotransmitter, chemical in your brain. When you hear advertisements for Prozac and other SSRI type of antidepressants, they claim that those antidepressants boost the levels of serotonin. Well, the medications don't. What they do is they prevent your body from breaking it up and storing it, because 90% of your serotonin should be stored all the time for those times of stress. And then when you're stressed out, your body releases a bunch of serotonin, something drastic happens, your serotonin, it boosts your levels up, and it helps you get through those periods. But then what happens if you're on this medication, it prevents it from coming back down.
Yeah, wow.
And eventually what's going to happen is you're going to run out of serotonin. Well, if you eat a lot of processed foods, Katie, which I know you don't, but a lot of people do, they eat candy bars and chocolate chips and Ho-Hos and Doritos and all these different types of things. And all of these processed foods, those food companies have actually gone through the work. They've got biochemists. They've got people like Tom has working for them at the factory that are actually testing the different chemicals that are in those foods to find out, how do we make this food so it makes you feel good?
Yeah.
Right? Because if you eat a potato chip and it makes you feel good, guess what? You're going to eat more.
Yeah.
And then the next time that you feel bad, guess what you're going to reach for?
The potato chips.
It's not going to be a stick of celery.
No. Well, I might.
Right? You're going to reach for those potato chips because it's going to release the serotonin. And so if you look at the standard diet, at least the standard American diet, and I would say it's probably the standard diet that we're seeing, a lot of people that eat Western style diets, when they eat this processed food, what happens is they're having an instant gratification. They feel good, so they eat more of it. The food companies sell more food. The food doesn't have a lot of nutrition. And so therefore, it actually, not only is it causing that depression, but it's causing an eating disorder at the exact same time.
Yeah, wow.
But so the product has 5-hydroxytryptophan in it, and that 5-hydroxytryptophan boosts those levels of serotonin. And so that's why, like Roz was saying, she feels better. Her clients feel better, right? And we can't make claims that our product does that, but we can say that's what 5-hydroxytryptophan does. Go look it up. There's plenty of research on PubMed on 5-hydroxytryptophan. And Mike said the same thing, just like Roz says he did,
Definitely.
So,
and doesn't the niacin and the niacinamide, that also has an impact on mood as well?
it sure does. You bet it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you figure that the brain uses up a lot of energy. The brain uses, I think
600 calories a day, I think it is.
How many?
600 calories a day your brain needs just to function.
Just to function, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I know some people that probably aren't getting that much function, but we won't talk about them.
Yeah, well, I know we're nearly at the half hour there, but I will share something else too. So we had person in our team, lovely person, who gave me a call and asked me what else could they be doing to maximize the benefits. He's going to be doing the double dose, and what can he make sure he's doing to maximize the benefits. And one of the key things we went through and discussed a few things, but is making sure that you're drinking enough water with this product, because the ingredients in the Age pill are water soluble, particularly the B vitamins, or the B vitamin, the niacin. And if you don't have enough water and you're not drinking enough, you're not gonna it's not going to carry the benefits and that nutrient around the body as well, and actually break it down, because it's water soluble. That's why B vitamins, that's why you need them every day, because your body doesn't store them. You flush them out, or you use what your body needs, and then off the rest of it goes. So if you don't have enough water, you're not going to get the best benefit. And I remember reading another testimonial. It was on the Sizzle Q&A group, and someone had commented that they weren't really getting the results they hoped for. But then one morning when they sat down and they took their whole handful of Age pill, they took a 600 ml bottle of water with it, because they generally didn't drink much water. And after they drank that water in the morning and had their tablets, they really noticed, wow, the impact really kicked in there. So I thought I'd just share the importance of drinking adequate water.
But you got to be careful on that too, Katie, because, I remember when you were telling a lot of people that, then they didn't do the Age pill. There were some people who actually wouldn't take the Age pill because they said, I can't drink that much water.
Oh, well, you don't have to drink 600 mils, but you do need to drink a sufficient amount. Like, some people are only drinking a few cups a day of water a day, but you do want to be hydrated, right?
You want to be hydrated, but everybody's different on the amount of water they need. So when Katie says 600 mils, don't let that scare you out of taking the product.
No, but is it true though that the B vitamins are water soluble and do require adequate amounts of water to really be utilized quickly?
They're water soluble, yeah. So I mean, just make sure that you're staying hydrated.
Yeah. So anyway, well, that was an interesting story, because it did make a difference for that one person. I guess it comes back to what you said too, Dr. Kurt. It's not the same for everyone. So, someone, it's going to impact more than someone else in regards to how much water they're having.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing, is that we're all different. We're all wired different. And, sometimes, Katie, I found this a long time ago, that when I was working with my patients, if they didn't get the desired results, let's say that somebody actually, instead of getting less depressed, they got more depression, and I've never heard of anybody having that by taking an Age pill, but let's say it happened. Here's the problem, is that with those people, heavy metal toxicity causing adrenal gland problems can actually make it so things kind of work in reverse. You get the opposite results, which is weird. So if you're saying, oh, I'm not really getting results, I actually feel worse, then you might want to think about adding things like the body shield, right? Because it pulls those heavy metals out, and fucoid, and there's so many other things that you want to do along with it. But again, we're all different, and just get a hold of Katie if you're down in Australia. Get a hold of me if you're up here in the United States or Canada, and we'll walk you through this thing. We'll try and figure out what's wrong. I know Katie does a lot of research on products and how to take them, and there's a lot of information out there. So, well, we're at the bottom of the hour, Katie. That went fast.
It did. So just fantastic, uplifting story. And thanks for joining us today. Thank you for watching the recording, if you've just finished watching the recording. And we hope that you can get back on next week. We look forward to hearing from Mark again, since Kurt's kindly donated him a bottle of Age pill, and here's some more fantastic results. And we'll be hearing from some other people too that we haven't heard from in quite a while too, right, Dr. Kurt?
You bet. Let's get some people on here, and and some of you that are doing your 2-week challenge already, you're finishing up your 2-week challenge. Jump on. Just let me know. Jump on next week and share your testimonial with us. And if you can't make it to the call, if you're listening to the recording, you say, "Oh, I can't be on Friday night, it's date night or whatever." Get a hold of me, and we'll record it just like we did with Mike. It doesn't take long to do that.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week.
Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.